Hello, dear viewers, and welcome to a new episode of Business Insider. I'm Mohammed Abdirrahim. Tonight, we'll be talking about higher education development and their role in the achievement of sustainable development goals. And when we talk about higher education, we're talking about all of the types of universities that exist here in Egypt, be it public universities, private universities, national universities, international universities, technological universities and others. And we have the great pleasure of having with us here tonight Dr. Mohammed Shukri Nada. He's the former president of the Beni Suef Technological University and also a former cultural counselor for Egypt in embassies abroad. A very good evening to you, Dr. Nada. Happy Ramadan, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to wish to your kind self and respected viewers a very happy Ramadan and happy holidays. And it's a pleasure also to be invited to express the personal opinion about very interesting topics that you mentioned.
Thank you very much. It's our pleasure, sir. And allows Dr. Nada, please, and dear viewers, first to watch a report prepared by our own Rasha Abdelhamid and Abi Hussein on the topic, and then come back and start our discussion.
President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi has said that Tahya Misr, Long Live Egypt Fund will bear half the cost of establishing 17 new technical universities across the country, estimated to cost 500 to 600 million Egyptian pounds. While celebrating Egyptian University Excellence Day last year, he said that the government will bear the other half of the cost. Meanwhile, the fund will contribute significantly to establishing 100 schools over this year. President el-Sisi said that Tahya Misr Fund will also contribute $50 million for an initiative to support innovative and creative university students, with the government allocating another $50 million to back the initiative. The 17 new universities will join Egypt's existing 10 technical universities. The state plans to have one such university in each of the country's 27 governorates. Over the past decade, the state has doubled the number of its public, private, and national universities to a total of 96 in 2023, up from 50 in 2014. The cost of establishing these new universities, excluding operating costs, amounted to 180 billion Egyptian pounds. Egypt currently has 28 public universities, 30 private universities, 20 national ones, 10 technical, and 7 branches of foreign universities located in the new administrative capital, according to Ashur. The universities currently educate more than 3.3 million students, with an enrollment rate of 37%, up from 29.6% in 2014. By 2032, Egyptian universities plan to educate 5.6 million students, with an enrollment rate of 43%. In a meeting with the Supreme Universities Council, the heads of the state has discussed the quality and competitiveness of Egyptian higher education. El-Sisi highlighted the state's efforts over the past decade to establish national universities and partnerships with international universities. The president has noted that the job market can only accommodate some of the many students studying law, commerce, and literature each year, for which opportunities can be non-existent or limited. El-Sisi was briefed on the performance of the Egyptian universities and the progress they have achieved in international indices in recent years.
Thank you very much, dear viewers, for staying with us back here in the studio with Dr. Mohammed Shukri Nada, the former president of the Beni Suef Technological University. And now, Dr. Nada, how have you seen the state's efforts in the past 10 years or so on developing higher education. We heard in the report the rise, the big rise in the number of national universities, technical or technological universities, and international universities, and the spending on the development of higher education. How did you like the effort, especially that you were the president of one of these important universities, the Beni Suef Technological University?
You can notice, and people can notice also, that there is a big development in such area, even for recognizing the number of universities. It has been increased to probably more than 105 universities nowadays. Consists of several types of universities. One of them is the technological universities, national universities. By the way, national universities has also two classifications. One of them is national universities, like like the 4 universities located in Galala, Alamein, South Sinai, and the 4th one, I think it is located in. There is 4 of them.
Right, right.
I may remember the 4th one.
Yes.
So the second classification is national universities that were arised from the public universities. And there are maybe more than 12 universities nowadays, including Ain Shams University, Helwan University, Alexandria, Beni Suef, and many others. So another type is also the private universities, which has been increased by a big portion of universities. So the international universities, the universities that have like a special framework with international cooperation, or special laws, also like the American University and others also. So there is a variety of university types, which could reflect positively on the state. Allow more openings for students to apply, allow also an availability to accommodate more foreign students. I think this is one of the important things, especially nowadays, to attract more foreign students for many reasons. One of them is recently the soft power. Previously, it was noticed that the soft power is through culture. But this have been developed a lot. So the soft power now include more important things like education. Yeah, education. So when you attract foreign students, so these foreign students may, after getting back to their countries, they could be like your ambassadors. And there are a lot of ties could be with them, opening more international cooperation with these countries. Another thing, important thing, I think, economically, that you are also attracting foreign currency. Yes. So this very important challenge to develop more and more, especially that now you have the infrastructure for it, so you can make use of it more and more. Another important thing is to convey the experience, the international experience to Egypt through cooperation and through such new universities, especially when these universities are established based on the new technologies and new advancement like the 4G universities, and now you may talk about 5G universities. So when you have such kind of infrastructure, allow you to develop more and more in such area. So this development, of course, the state need more and more on it, especially after the recent the recent development in labor market. You need more specializations, more new specializations. Now you are talking about artificial intelligence, you are talking about genomes, genetics, nanotechnology, sustainability, you are talking about green environment. There are many fields other than the conventional or traditional measures that were already in our universities. So these new universities allow you to enter more and more in such new era, to cope with the new jobs. It has been several studies have been done, and some of them says like that it is expected that in the future you may lose, or you may not find around 75 million jobs maybe disappeared. But on the other hand, it is expected that you may have 130 million jobs, new jobs, to appear according to the new technologies and the new fields of
So
of
the net
development.
is positive. The net
It is expected, yeah, that
is positive.
yeah, if it works as planned, if it works positively, so it could be, and correctly, it could be very positive to the state.
Right. Now, the importance of technological universities in specific, Dr. Nada, and you were the head of one of them, the Bani Suef Technological University. What specializes and characterizes technological universities, and how important are they for the future labor market?
It's very important because also positively to think in an integrated way. So at the same time you are establishing new industries, new cities, new development in several areas, it is, you may recognize that you need to have parallel to that a development in education, development in human resources that can manage and that can deal with such new projects. For example, now you may have in the new technology in the technological universities major like technology of railways. So from its name, at the same time you can hear about a lot of projects in the area of railways and a lot of enhancement in the railway
Here in
infrastructure.
Egypt, of course, yes.
Yeah, infrastructure. So who is going to deal with this? You need people educated, people prepared for this. This is one, for example. Another example, very famous thing that people also can feel, the new cities, the new sustainable cities, new like the new capital, the new administrative capital, Alamein city, many cities are
Ras Al
established.
Hikma.
Yes. So these communities, it is expected to be intelligent communities. So who is going to deal with that? So you need people to be equipped with the knowledge in order to have the capabilities to deal with this kind of cities. And development. So you may find in the technological universities majors like mechatronics, autotronics, renewable energy and new energies.
Areas that will fill the job market in the future, and the areas that were not existent a few years back, were non-existent a few years back.
And at the same time, you need to develop and enhance more and more the measures in the public universities, because now the competition it is expected to be more tough, not locally but also internationally. Now you have to consider that the graduate to be able to work in the region, not just in Egypt.
Right.
So the competition is very high, especially if you get back again to the attracting foreign students. So you need to have programs that can be suitable for such advancement locally and internationally.
Many of these universities, I believe, Dr. Nada, the public universities even, have partnerships with foreign universities in countries like the United States, the UK, France, I mean, advanced
For example, Bani Suef Technological University, it has a cooperation with South Korea, for example, which is one of the countries
pioneer in technology, of course, yes.
known of its advanced technological education. They started since the 50s, 1950s or so. So they already have a lot of experience in such area. So this is another important.
The partnerships. This is important.
Yeah, very important, because especially when you enter new fields like the technological university and so, because you have the human resources that you have may be available for the measures that we know. But for new ones, you need to develop your human resources that can manage and that can be able to teach to the students such new areas. So until you have graduates from such areas, so you need such international cooperation to help you to develop the human skills, the professors and the faculty members' skills in such areas.
So do I understand that in your view, that the thing we must focus most on is the development of the teaching staff, the cadres?
Yeah, this is a big challenge because especially in the new universities, for example, the technological universities and others, the state put a lot of investment in having advanced labs. For example, also the Beni Suef Technological University, there are labs equipped with equipments from South Korea and other international areas. So the labs are advanced. So to make use of such advanced and developed infrastructure, you need to develop at the same time faculty members and people, personnel that can be up to the level.
Right.
So even if you have, but you need more and more, and you need to develop them as much as possible and to increase them. Because now we are expanding in such areas. For example, now the technological university started by 3 universities. Now you have 10, and the plan to have 27, around 27 or so, in order to have in every governorate one of technological universities with different specializations according to the region, which is very important criteria when you choose the location of the university, whether technological or others, in order to have the ability to serve probably at first hand the community that it is located in. So it is expected that you have different majors in different universities, not similar or typical majors in all of the universities. For example, in Luxor, there is one of the technological universities in Luxor. The majors there is for technology of tourism, technology of hotel issues. So it differs than what you have, for example, in other places that has like Burj Al Arab or other places.
Industrial
they have,
areas.
They have like textile technology and different. So this is very important to take into consideration in other types, in the several types of education, not only technology.
Very important point you're mentioning, Dr. Nada, there. Now, from your work as a cultural counselor in Egyptian embassies abroad, I believe you served in India and Nigeria. Tell us about that experience and how important is the role of the cultural counselor or attaché in bridging the cultures, in getting cultures to benefit from each other and to know each other more.
This is a very interesting question and unexpected question, but very nice one.
Thank you.
The cultural and educational mission, which can be in different countries all over the world, is very important for Egypt. Among which, as you kindly mentioned, it can bridge the areas between these countries and Egypt, but also the objective may differ. For example, if you are dealing in India, so your objective more is to focus more on technology transfer. While if you are dealing with it in Nigeria, for example, or other African countries, you may focus more on the issue that we talked about it before, having more foreign students. And so this collaboration in such area is very important for the two countries, and you have a lot of benefits from such cooperation. Back again to India, for example, you can make use of their development and their advancement in specific areas like IT and so on, with an affordable technologies and affordable areas that you can interact with them and you can integrate with them. So it's very important to develop more and more in such areas. There is an important role for the cultural office in countries abroad, because nowadays, as mentioned before, the soft power not only cultural, but the soft power now has more strength in the area of education and scientific research, especially.
Right.
Because, for example, political-wise, if you already have like ties in scientific project and scientific relations with specific country, so it is expected that these two countries are going to try as much as they can to keep good relations, because they have long-term collaboration, not just cultural exchange has to be done for short terms and that's it. In addition to the benefits that can be gained by each of these countries from such cooperation in scientific research, because every country has its characteristics and its nature and so on. So this exchange of experiences is very beneficial for the world, not just for the two countries.
Absolutely.
So these are some of the examples. For the important. In addition to that, it is expected that you also may take care of the educational mission and the Egyptian students, if there are Egyptian students in these countries. It's very important to have a good relation with these students and to keep an eye on them for the benefits and for the country benefit, in order to that they can achieve their goal and come back again to their home countries to use their experience abroad in their fields and areas. So it's very interesting experience to have such role in an important countries for Egypt, and Egypt also is very important for them. So so the cultural and educational affairs could be a good channel for developing this strong relationship. And even politically and economically, of course. Yeah.
Absolutely. Now, I believe that you obtained your PhD in studying the field of artificial intelligence, and you obtained it from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, from the United States. Tell us, how important is artificial intelligence in the development of higher education today in Egypt?
It has been an honor to be a scholar from Egypt to the United States of America during my PhD. It was on applications of artificial intelligence in architecture and urbanism. So it's very interesting to me.
And very important today, especially in Egypt.
Yeah, it was a sort of a good expectation at that time to get into such field. Of course, it is expected that artificial intelligence is very important in education, not as an educational field, but in the environment itself of education. As you can see, some very simple example that many people have felt its importance. For example, during the COVID-19, and how it helps a lot. Especially in Egypt, how it helps a lot not to stop the educational activities. However, in some other countries, they have been affected negatively a lot, and they were delayed in a lot of activities. But probably in Egypt, it has been you made use of such circumstances in order to make use of the technology and not to stop and to get it rolling. Yeah. So this is one of the examples. Another thing, as mentioned, that 4G universities and 5G universities, these new types of generations in education depends on such technologies. So it's very important to take it into consideration, but at the same time, same thing, you have the challenge to prepare people, whether students or faculty members, to be able to deal with it.
Right, but isn't it true that in almost every academic field you have to have some knowledge about AI? I mean, if we talk about engineering, it's very obvious. We don't have to even make the link. Even in the field of medicine, artificial intelligence is very important nowadays. Those who study business must know about AI, and maybe in marketing or maybe in BIS studies or any other studies. So I guess that today, in almost every field, AI is there, right? Or you have to know something about AI.
Probably people are dealing with it even without they recognize that they are dealing with AI through the mobile applications that widely spread nowadays. For example, to simplify some concepts of artificial intelligence that you can guess how it is into several measures. One of the concepts of artificial intelligence is they name it machine learning. This means that they are trying to make the machine or the software that you are dealing with to learn and get experience like the human being. So it is one of the concepts also is that it is a sort of imitating the human brain or the human thinking methodology. Now the applications can try to know your personality, try to know how you are thinking, and cope with these ways in order to provide you, when you are using the application, with the suitable issues that you are looking for or you are thinking of without to be prepared beforehand. So this is a sort of like an imitation of how the human is thinking. Yeah. So if you consider this in the different fields, you may find how it is very important, because since you are learning, so now you can develop the machine itself in order to be more useful for the human being. So it's very important. And now also it is intended to use the expression of knowledge, not data, because there is a big difference between knowledge and data. The knowledge is...
You analyze the data.
Yes. Yes. So the knowledge and you are including how to perceive this data, not just pure data or pure information. It's not just pure information, but knowledge. So knowledge deal more with experience, deal more with expertise. So that's why it is more like human thinking than just a machine, a traditional machine, computer machine that we know before.
Right. There are 17 Sustainable Development Goals, and one of them, and many of those goals can be linked to education and to higher education. But goal number 4 specifically is called quality education. And the United Nations defines that by saying, ensure inclusive and equitable quality education and promote lifelong learning opportunities for all.
Yeah, because of this could be one of the criteria that was into consideration in establishing new universities in Egypt, as it may be recognized also that these universities that exceeds maybe around more than 105 universities, they are not concentrated in one region. They are spread all over the Egyptian governorates. So this could serve in the point of equity and in order to have like a sort of
inclusive development. Yes. Or all-around development.
Yeah, and to provide people with equal amount of education in Upper Egypt, like in north of Egypt, like in North Coast area, like in
the Delta,
Cairo,
like in Sinai.
Yeah. So this is one of the objectives of these universities. So that means that these universities is coping with the sustainable goals.
Right.
Yeah. So this, for example, some of them. Yeah.
Another one that must have a very direct link with education, another one of the SDGs, is decent work and economic growth. And the link is obvious, I guess.
Yeah. One of the important factors, for example, for the economical development is education, to enhance education. So enhancing education, especially if it is based on considering the labor market and linking and like trying to avoid to have gap between between education and the labor market, it helps a lot in such area. Especially when you introduce new measures. So these also can be related also to the SDGs again, whether in the economical area or social area and whatever. And as another example, because when you spread education in several regions and make it available for people from different genders, from different backgrounds and so on. So it helps a lot in such goal also.
Right. Now, where are the areas, Dr. Nada, that you believe we must focus on when it comes to the development of higher education, taking into consideration the future job market in Egypt, or the development that's happening in Egypt, the development that's happening in mega infrastructure projects in transportation, in clean energy diversion, in the new communities and cities that are being built all around the country. So where should we focus when it comes to development of higher education? And I want to link this with private universities, public universities, technological universities, and about whether we should focus on the curriculums, on the academic staff, on the partnerships with foreign countries and entities, and so on.
Probably it is an integrated process, so it's difficult to exclude the factors that you have kindly mentioned. But you may, as you kindly mentioned also, you at different phases you can concentrate or focus more a little bit on such areas. For example, at the beginnings you may concentrate and collaborate more with international bodies, so especially that you are still developing your curriculums. So an example of the integration, when you develop more in the international cooperation, they can also help you to develop the curriculum and so on. So, and can help also to develop the human resources.
Right.
So it is an interacted, integrated, multidisciplinary. Yes.
It is.
Yeah. So regarding the measures that you may focus more for expected future jobs, it is expected that to focus on the IT, the ICT, like information and communication technology, environmental issues, sustainable, especially sustainable environmental issues, like green fields, like very famous, especially, which is could be related a little bit to my also field in architecture and urbanism. Like we have a very famous field, green architecture. The new cities that is in Egypt.
Because
now,
there will be hundreds of thousands or maybe millions of jobs created inside these new cities.
Yeah, and the cities, as people can hear, the cities not just like smart cities, it's smart green cities. So green include a lot of areas inside. Renewable energies, very important. Water resources. So these are very crucial areas, especially for countries like Egypt in the future to focus and to develop, to have graduates in such areas that can bear the responsibility to deal with such new fields and jobs.
But do we need more and more people with higher education certificates and experience? Or do we need more working hands? Because I remember that we used to say in Egypt, you know, a few years back or decades ago, that we need more working hands, less higher education graduates and more, highly skilled laborers. This is what we used to say. So is this the case in today's world still, or have things changed?
Thanks again for the very interesting question, very intelligent question.
Thank you.
As you mentioned, as you kindly mentioned, that now you may need people who has hands-on experience. That's why this is one of the reasons to establish technological universities. As people now, I think, may know, after a lot of dissemination about the technological universities, that these universities are focusing now on like
the development of the skills of
yes,
the working skills,
more on practical issues. So to the extent that the curriculum itself can up to 60% of the curriculum is practical work for the student, and 40% the theoretical. So which is not the case in other traditional universities.
Right.
It could be opposite to the others, which is intended also to develop more in this area. Also, from international experience abroad, whether in the States or in India or whatever, countries out abroad also now focusing on such areas as you kindly mentioned. And some of the examples, for example, in India recently, to the extent that they have they establish new ministry. From its name, you can get an answer for your question. They have a new ministry on skills and entrepreneurship development. So it's obvious. Yeah, it's not just they have a minister for this. Yeah,
right.
Yeah. Which is one of the things now India is famous of, that they are trying to make use of their high population to develop them more.
They export laborers.
Yes.
They export scientists. They export minds.
Which is a very big benefit for them. That people now they are like decreasing the people who are not able to get work or to get jobs and so on.
So you think Egypt
skills.
can learn a lot from the Indian experience?
This is one thing.
Because also we are a highly populous country. We have a lot of human resources, a lot of natural resources. Yeah.
There are some similarities in several issues. Same thing.
All civilizations.
Same thing also the U.S. The U.S. experience. Now they have a lot of a type of education through something they name it the community colleges. So community colleges, this is, as you were asking, it's not like...
You're not going to get a bachelor.
Yes, it's not like a BSc degree, but it is more towards skillful degrees. They prepare people and prepare also people who like to have like a career shift or something, which is also very important recently. Many graduates, after they get out of the bachelor degree, they found that they are not getting the jobs that they like, and they try to learn other skills. So in order to avoid this waste of time after graduation and then trying to make a career shift and so on, so why not to get into the major a little bit early to save more money for you and for the country, to be educated in areas that are needed outside,
right,
which are now more towards the skillful jobs.
Okay. Yeah. Dr. Nada, goal number 9, Sustainable Development Goal number 9, is industry innovation and infrastructure. And I want to link this to the situation in Egypt right now. I mean, industry innovation, it's very important for us here in Egypt. We keep talking about, the necessity of depending on the local components. We want to localize the industry as much as we can and to depend on local components instead of importing much of the components. And the infrastructure, where we're seeing Egypt, I mean, is really spending on infrastructure. So how can we make the link between the development of higher education and SDG number 9 here in Egypt, industry innovation and infrastructure?
This is another important issue, which is also one of the criteria on you may consider when you are establishing new universities. For example, the technological universities, because to be more successful, you need to link more with industry. In other words, that means that even before developing the curricula itself, you can integrate with the industry. You can know from them what are their needs, so to save them time and to save the graduate time as well. So now you are graduating a student that can go directly after university or after education to work with them, and you are saving the industry time and effort and money to like train the graduate in order to cope with their technology. So to integrate with them and cooperate with them from the beginning, even when you are designing the curriculum itself, it's very important. And this is one of the things to consider in the new universities. By the way, in the technological universities, for example, the student can be graduated after just 2 years. So that a little bit equivalent to the community college in US. So now you can get a sort of like diploma in the field of technology, and you can go outside and work in the professional area. And if you like, after some time, you can get back again to the university to continue the 3rd and 4th year and get BSc. not BSc, it's Bachelor of Technology.
Okay. Okay.
This is
very interesting.
Yes.
Very, yeah.
And recently also one of the important things that happened that now it has been approved to have a syndicate for technologists, so, which was a very famous question before. In the previous years, especially parents were asking. So the student is going to be in the energy
syndicate of engineers or not?
Syndicate of engineering or whatever. But at that time, I was answering such question to say that why you are saying syndicate of engineering, because at that time people recognition about technological universities or technological study, it is that engineering, which it's technology. So technology can be engineering, can be medicine, can be food technology, can be
a very important area,
agriculture,
food technology.
Agriculture, textile. So a lot of areas. So it's not just engineering. So I was returning back the question to them and saying, why syndicate of engineering? Why not, for example, syndicate of medicine, of
technicians
or other fields, agriculture or other types of syndicates?
Right, right.
So this. Now, by establishing the syndicate for technologists, answered this question, because now they have a syndicate for them for their different areas.
They already have it.
Yes, it's recently the law has been approved, and now in process to have such.
So the legislation is very important to cope with the development required.
Regarding this point also, this is from the South Korean experience. They have, for example, legislations that encourage industry to link more and more and to cope and coordinate and interact and cooperate, integrate more with the universities. But through this, when you develop legislations for that, for example, you can give like taxes exemptions if these industries, for example, support the education in such a way, and so on. So you can also have the legislation to help in education and to link and make the relation more strong between the industry and education and, of course, therefore, development.
How strong or weak is the link, Dr. Nada, between businessmen and big companies and the scientists or academic professors or universities? How strong or weak is the link right now in Egypt, and what do we need to do to strengthen it, even if it is at an okay level?
This is another challenge, to develop and encourage more of such a relation. Talking about Beni Suef technological universities, there is an example, for example, that there is a very big international factory in Beni Suef. I'm not going to mention its name not to be for advertisement. It's a very famous factory in technological area. Not just in Egypt, but in the region, and it is originally foreign, very famous foreign company. So it opens the factory in Beni Suef. So there is a strong protocol of cooperation between Beni Suef Technological University and this factory, to the extent that even the training part of one of the training part of the student in the university is in this factory. So it's another example of business with education.
Science, yes.
Yeah. So such example of cooperation need to be more and more developed and more spread in other areas and other universities. And another example, for example, there is an Egyptian, very famous also Egyptian company in Delta, cooperating also with Delta Technological Universities in their production.
Right.
So there are some endeavors. Of course, it's needed to be more and more for the benefit of the country. Also, another area to can help a lot in education, which is already you can feel a flavor of it, which is the private sector. Nowadays, for example, there are even in the technological universities, some of the private sector now
scholarships.
No, they already establishing their universities. Yeah. As there are private universities, now also there is a sort of a private technological university. So this is another area need to be developed more and more in Egypt, because as you can see, not just in education, in many areas and many fields, the private entity is very important.
Absolutely.
Not to depend on the governmental money only.
Now, in fact, we should depend more and more on the private sector, of course.
The government can plan, the government can govern, the government can put legislations, can put guidelines.
But
whatever.
the private sector has to run.
Has to put more effort, more effort and more collaboration in
running the economy at large. Finally, Dr. Nada, the importance of scientific research in developing higher education and in linking it with the job market.
Yeah. Of course, a big portion of scientific research is to be done in the higher education area or higher education entities like universities. But at the same time, there is specific bodies for research, like research centers and so on. But at the same time, you need to integrate and you need to collaborate between the two areas to implement such kind of scientific research in whether in education or in the professional area. So especially scientific research in the higher education area is very significant to help more and more, because they are like in between these different entities. They are in between the professional market and professional practice, in between the industry, in between education. So if it is, if you make use of it correctly and in a very positive way, that could be very beneficial, because sometimes if you depend on the scientific research in research centers, they may not have the potential for example, for teaching, or the potential for some other educational activities. So it's very important to concentrate and focus in such area, especially if you like integrate again with other entities like private sector, like industry.
Understood.
And so on. So this can help you to implement and to explore more areas of scientific research. Because as the idea that you can take it into consideration in technological universities, like to talk with the industry in order to know their needs, to include it in the curriculum. Same thing could be done in the scientific research. The scientific problem that you are trying to deal and solve.
You have to define it first.
Yeah, and you can define it. Not just an imaginary point.
From the private sector.
And you can get their problems and try to solve them. So now the scientific research is feasible. Not just theoretical research.
Right. Very important point there. You mentioned some very, very important points in our discussion, Dr. Nada. It's been a privilege really having you with us, Dr. Mohammed Shukri Nada, the former president of the Beni Suef Technological University and former cultural counselor for Egypt abroad. Thank you very much, Dr. Nada.
Thank you.
It's been a great pleasure. Happy Ramadan.
Thank you.
And thank you, dear viewers, for watching Business Insider. Have all the best and goodbye.